what I learned from doing a triathlon in the mud and the rain and the sleet with my 7-year-old boy. So I did this the other day. I did triathlons. He has always wanted to do one, and we had to wait till he was a certain age till he was allowed to do it. And it was quite a day, very interesting day, but I wanted to share some learning I got from it about how surrounding yourself with people who are doing the next stage up from you is so important for like inspiration and motivation in what you're doing, and you can apply it in a business as well. So we went to this day, and it was April, it was his birthday, April the 2nd, and it should have been nice, but it wasn't. The weather was absolutely horrendous. It was some kind of random storms and just absolutely disgusting weather. So first of all, me and my friend Helen, who've done triathlons before, our mood started to sink. We knew that what it would be like, how cold it would feel, because we've had experience before. And that's when being around my son, who was the least experienced, was so inspiring and so motivating, because his excitement, we'd almost thought we won't do it, but he was so excited. He had no comprehension of how it would feel to be cold and wet, like literally running through mud up to our knees, and it was soaking into our trainers, because usually in that situation have wellies, but you can't run in them. So he was just ecstatic, even with all the weather and stuff around him, absolutely ecstatic. So me and Helen, we didn't quit. We thought, we've got to do this. This little boy is so driven and motivated to do this. So we were inspired by his lack of knowledge at that point. So then we started. They had to change some of the route because of the atrocious conditions, but we still ended up going through, like I said, knee-deep mud on our bikes. At that point we had to carry my sons, and he'd already, by this point, he ran 5k very, very fast, because he hadn't realised he had to stay with us and we couldn't catch him up. So he ran 5k, then we canoed, sat in pools of water in the bottom of the canoes, and then we went and so what did we do after canoeing? Cycling. And as I said, you couldn't ride your mountain bike, he couldn't ride his, my friend Helen had to carry it for him. And then that was the start of a 5k bicycle route. So by this time my son is wet through, and he is soaked, and he's hurt himself. He fell over a couple of times, and he's starting to get a little bit disillusioned. His excitement, trust me, it's waning at this point, it's gone. So what it really struck me was, this child, he has got no comprehension that this will be over soon. And I think that's what some of us are like in business. We don't see, and it's like parenting, they say it's just a phase, it's just a phase. It's really hard to believe it when he's got nothing to reference that to. He's got no experiences like that, and he's just like, oh my gosh, this is going to last forever. I'm going to feel this wet, this cold. He was starting to shake a little bit as well. I'm going to feel like this forever. And that's where being surrounded by me and Helen, who've done a few triathlons, obviously we've been in bad weather, we're over 30, we've all had experiences where we've got caught out in bad weather. So we knew that at the end would be a hot chocolate, we'd seen the heat lamps, we could future project to when this period was over. But my son, he just could not. So if he'd have been on his own, he would have flat out given up. There is no question that he would have given up without us to help us through. So then he was already feeling like this, and then he had a massive crash, and he did really want to give up, but I was like, well babe, we've still got to get to the finish, we're in the middle of nowhere, so we've got to carry on. We've got to make movement, so we might as well carry on. And he saw somebody else in the end, another family caught up with us, and he was like, well, they're doing it, I'm going to do it, and he carried on. But without me and Helen coaching him through it, and basically at some points physically helping him to get over these obstacles, he wouldn't have done it, because he just had no reference that he would soon have a hot chocolate, he would be back with his daddy and be able to have lunch. So bless him, he needed us. And I think it's exactly the same message in business. Sometimes it feels so hard, and you feel so stuck, but you're observing it from that stuck place. You're in the bottom of a hole, observing it from there. But if you can just meet other people who have got out of that hole, or are standing around the rim of the hole, and they can help you and guide you, whether it be with just words of wisdom and motivation, or actual physical help, because face it, somebody might be able to do something you can't do better than you. It's just really, really useful, and it's amazing. And it just made me think in that moment, gosh, that is how it is when you start out. You just don't know. You cannot picture the other side. You can't picture out of the hole, because you've never been there because you're just starting out, and you need to meet other people who are outside of that hole or have got out of it to inspire you and motivate you to keep going. And yes, you could do it by yourself. Good luck for you if that's the way you want to do it, but there is lots of help and inspiration we can get from all the people around us who are where we want to be. So yeah, I just thought I'd share you that message. Sorry this video went on a little bit longer than I intended, but yeah, it was such a lovely day for me and my son, but one I know he couldn't have done without us. And to be honest, me and Helen, we might not have gone without his initial excitement and his desire, because we did know what the rain and wind would feel like. But then when we were in it, we were the best place to know that it was just a phase. Okay, bye.